Hi, this is Sarah from Sessa Reads, and today I will be talking about one of the books that I read in 2016, and it is a short story collection called The Twilight Zone, which is edited by Carol Serling, Rod Serling's wife, and I originally picked this up at the Disneyland's Tower of Terror ride, and I overall give this collection 4 stars, but I will do a overall breakdown of each short story. And I have my collection of notes right here. So the first story in this book is called Genesis, and I won't go into details about what Genesis is because I won't feel like if you're a fan of the Twilight Zone as well as the creator, it may just be best to go in completely blind, and because I definitely love the overall plot and concept of it, I gave it 5 stars. Then the next story is called A Haunted House of Her Own, and this one is about a woman who buys a haunted house, and it was really creepy, really weird, but the ending was what really tied the story together for me, and I gave it 4.75 stars. The next story is called On the Road, and I gave this one 2 stars. For me, it felt like a comedy story, and I wasn't interested in it at all. I don't care for road trip romances in this kind of telling. It just didn't work. I'm pretty picky about romance stories that do have to do with hitchhiking and things of that nature, and this one was just very rushed. The pacing was slow, and I didn't get the romance because, like, the romance was so rushed, but the pacing of the story was so slow, like unbelievably slow. Just not for me. Then the next story is called The Art of the Miniature, and this one I gave 4 stars. I really enjoyed this one because it's about a man who has an obsession with bonsais, and he uses this obsession against people. Pretty creepy. It was really good. I enjoyed that one. The next one is called Benchwarmer, and this one I gave 4.25 stars. In my opinion, Benchwarmers does not fit into the Twilight Zone-esque universe, but that's okay because as a short story, Benchwarmer is pretty awesome. It stands very strongly on its own, which is why I gave it 4.25 stars. Benchwarmer follows an imaginary friend who has been on the bench for many years, and he has yet to be played with since his original creator. Really entertaining. I definitely recommend it. I like the concept of this imaginary friend. The next story is called Truth or Consequence, and this one is really awesome. I consider it to be a perfect Twilight Zone story. I gave it 5 stars. It was super cool. I really liked how it stuck to the concept that a lot of Twilight Zone episodes originally did with older people encountering young people who happen to be deaf, and I really liked that one. It felt true to, Twilight Zone. And then the next story is called Poana, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. It may also be pronounced as Poana. I think it may be Poana. This one I give 3 stars. I really enjoyed learning about Hawaiian culture and the lore and the superstitions that the culture has, especially around psychics. But my problem with it is that as a story, it doesn't have any striking features, characteristics, and I almost completely forgot the story. I do remember, like, the ending, but that's about it. In a few years, it'll be a story I probably will not even remember at all. And then the next story in this collection is called Torn Away, which I gave 4.5 stars. This is about a man who is able to shapeshift, and his shadow is chasing him, which sounds really weird, but it's a really good story. It's really dark, it's really gory. It doesn't really fit as much with the Twilight Zone universe. I think it's more supernatural. Like, I could see more like Sam and Dean coming in than Rod Serling narrating this, but it's okay because I really enjoy the story, so I'll let it slide. And then the next story is called Vampin' Down the Avenue, and this one I gave 2.75 stars. I personally liked the idea of this vampire lore. Like, it was entertaining, but my problem is that the characters weren't fleshed out, and the writer didn't really give enough background on the characters for the story to feel strong. It was really weak, and it was just not entertaining. It was pretty lackluster. And then the next story is A Chance of Ghosts, which I gave 3.75 stars. It's an interesting story about a little old lady who gets a cane online from eBay that happens to be haunted. It's pretty funny and cute. And then the next story is my favorite in this collection. It is called The Street That Forgot Time, which I know it sounds like a perfect Twilight Zone episode. I obviously gave this one 5 stars. It really fit the whole concept of a Twilight Zone episode, and I felt as if I was watching one. It was great, super awesome. And then the next story in this collection is The Wrong Room, which is written by R.L. Stine, who wrote Goosebumps. I gave this story 4 stars because R.L. Stine is not an adult writer. He is not. He is funny, he is lighthearted, which is why he can write for kids. And what he did in this story is he kept it funny and lighthearted, and that's why it worked. If he would have tried to be darker and less on the, kind of goofy side, it wouldn't have worked, because when R.L. Stine tries to be serious, it falls incredibly flat and it just becomes muddled. But he did good, and I really enjoyed this one. The next story is called Ghostwriter, and this one's really weird. It's about a man who is the president's speechwriter, and he is either trying to stop or start World War III. And I gave this one 3.75 stars, just because it was interesting. It was very weird, but it was interesting. And the next one is called The Soldier He Needs to Be. I give this one 3.5 stars. I really like this one because it follows a soldier who finds an iPod, and the iPod plays random songs that give him the strength that he needs to fight. And it was really, really interesting. I really liked that one. The next story I really enjoyed. It's really dark and depressing. It's called Ants. It's about a really abusive man who is in an argument with his wife, and she's telling him to get rid of the ants. And he ends up getting rid of her, and the ants, we end up, being his downfall because he didn't get rid of them. Pretty funny story, but also pretty dark and depressing. I give this one 4.75 stars. Really good. It reminded me of 1922 by Stephen King with the husband killing the wife. Those are just kind of short stories that I like to see play out because it's always entertaining when the husband meets his downfall. And then the next story is Your Last Breath, Inc. This one I gave 3.25 stars. And this one is a mediocre story. And, I don't know. It's just, there's no mystery to it. It's not anything special, and that's all I can say about it. The next one is The Family Man, which I gave 2.5 stars. The idea is there, but the execution completely fell flat with the reveal. It really pissed me off. I don't condone, using a parallel universe as an okay ideal to cheat, and yeah, I'm just not feeling it. He is definitely not a family man. The next one is called The Good Neighbor, which I gave 3.5 stars, and this is a story this one was the alien story. It was really weird. It was odd, very odd, but I liked it. It's not a great alien story, but it was a lot of fun, so that's what the purpose was for. And then the next one is Elmo, which is written by the great Rod Serling himself. I give this one 4 stars because it's nothing amazing, but it's Rod Serling, so I'm going to give him 4 stars for just being Rod Serling alone. Overall, I really love the layout of this collection. It's super cool because, for instance, it has like the opening credits, and then it has a brief narration, the story, and then it ends with more narration, and I really enjoyed that. It was really fun, and I definitely recommend picking this one up if you're a fan of the Twilight Zone. And that's all of my thoughts on that book, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!